Welcome everyone. Today we have our another new episode, and this is the dialogue for COP27, and we will discuss on sustainable finance. We have our world famous speaker, Professor David Smith, and Dr. Musa. First, I would like to give chance Professor Dr. Asim Musa.
Thank you so much. My pleasure to be with you again. We already have a chance two times to be with you, talking about the technology and talking about the importance of human in climate change. And again, I am very proud that Egypt hosts climate change Sharm el-Sheikh, and I hope that we can move from talk to action and to implementation of this climate change procedures. So I am very happy to be with you today. I think that finance is, of course, important about to finance the project of climate the procedure to against the climate change. But before talking about finance, I would like to mention about the importance of the technology of the 21st century, 5G, 6G, cloud computing, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, digital twins, and important, to implement it in all, the world, not only, in Asia or Europe, but also in Africa. Uh, Also, I would like to speak about, we have to stop, war between, Russia, Ukraine, Palestine, Israel, any war, or any conflict inside the country or between the, country, because, we cannot do anything without, peace. If we have peace, we can do anything, because, war means, to destruction, but peace means to construct something, to implement something, to build something. For climate change, we need to build, not we need to destruct. So also, after that, we have to talk about the finance. So finance, what's happened in COP26, a significant point of frustration and anger among the developing countries at the COP26, because the failure to deliver the promises of regular, climate finance, especially, in African, because, the central bank of the wealthiest country engaged in 25, trillion of quantitative easing in 13 years. So can we use this, to purchase bond or, in infrastructure that finances energy transition or cloud of things technology of the 20th century that will help, a lot, in climate change? At COP27 that held today in Sharm el-Sheikh, the city, of peace, developing country hope to see the fulfillment of historical promises. Because, if you make a promise, I think you have to do your promises, such as the 100 billion annual climate finance, which developed country meant to deliver each year from 2020 to 25. So I hope that this promise, will happen. Also, rich countries are facing the financial challenge because what's happening in COVID-19, recession, the rise of the prices of energy and food prices. Citizens struggle to cope with the cost of living crisis. So I know that developed countries also have problem in economy, and it's important climate finance for developing country to make the promise about that. So, for example, the IMF, developing country need about 2.5 trillion of external financing annually until 2030 to meet the Paris agreements that held, in 2015. And I hope in Sharm el-Sheikh we make update, for the Paris agreement for better. And the SDG, because we need to achieve the 17 SDG in 2030. So the impact of climate, are not continuous as a country border, financing global mitigation and adaptation. So I think, the vision to scale up climate effort, accelerate emission reduction. So the 100 billion promised by developed nation and the urgent need for collaboration, especially for African, because African is it's not the only reason for what's happened in climate change. I think maybe China, USA, the biggest country is responsible for that, and Africa effect about that with women, with the children. So, for example, there's a project, it's called MC Kenzie. Growing demand for net zero offering can create new value and across the new infrastructure, transport, energy, power, and building worth more than 12 trillion of annual sales by 2030. So COP 27 that takes place in Egypt, there's an urgent priority include mitigation, adaptation, finance, and collaboration. A lot of activity happened in this conference, and I hope that will transit from talk, to implementation. And also there is a, key topics, about the finance of this, and also, we have to, after finance, we concentrate about four things: harnessing the power of the ocean, and also woman as climate leader. We have to, involve woman, African as a pivotal role to play, and the last thing, climate adaptation is the key. Thank you so much for engaging with me today, and wishing you all this and hope that COP 27 will achieve better than the 26th conference that happened before, and we can transit from talk to action. Thank you so much. My pleasure to you.
Thank you, Dr. Asim Mossad. Now I request Professor David Smith.
Dr. Musa, thank you so much for what you said. As I look at COP 27, and particularly in the area of sustainable finance, it has done a lot as we begin to look together, because one of the differences from the prior United Nations COPs is COP 27 is really extending the debate of expanding financing for developing countries. And, this is really critical, especially challenge the context of the slowing global economy. The fact that we are now seeing inflation, and in many places, even a recession and potential depression on the landscape, the higher energy costs, the higher food prices. We're seeing the conflicts, particularly around Ukraine today, the worsening debt structure of the developing world, and the continuing impacts of COVID and other diseases going there. And so what they're trying to do is at COP 27, as we look at sustainable finances, is they're trying to develop more concrete strategy and mechanisms to increase the financial and investment flows to deal with sustainability, but particularly to developing countries to help them address their energy security, their development, and their climate change challenges, which these challenges are applicable to all the countries in the world. But as what Sunil said so elegantly, is it's unbalanced with the developed nations as opposed to the developing nations. Recent efforts by many of the developed industrial countries to expand clean energy and climate funding, such as what we saw here in the United States and the EU's Repower EU and the Green Deal, they are extremely important to global climate action. And we'll begin to see that, particularly in light of, you go back and look at the United Nations emissions gap report 22 and the World Bank's energy tracking reports. It's very clear that sustainable finance, particularly sustainable finance for developing nations, is critically important at this time in dealing with a sustainable future. Um, and you begin to see a real push by the developing nations and things to do so. If I go back and look at COP 26, the developed nations said they were going to increase financing for climate from quite a bit of doubling the amount they're being allocated, but they're still going there from COP 26, COP 25, and going all the way back further. The money which has been pledged has not been met yet. So we need to see more and more of a need for really urgent funding to go particularly to the developing nations is what we're seeing out of COP27. And there's really growing pressure for that. And there's something back in the original plans called the SDGs. And one of the SDGs, SDG 7, was really looking at how to move more, particularly across the developing nations. And the goals for SDG 7 were universal access to electricity and clean cooking fuels by 2030, a significant increase in the share of renewable energy and final energy consumption, and a doubling the rate of improvement in energy efficiency. Uh, these are important considerations as we look at the whole COP27 and the sustainable finance initiatives coming together and out of it. And yes, it begins to deal with others, such as uh, how we're going to grow more crops, how we're going to do sustainable manufacturing, how we're going to change the regulatory environment on a global basis to affect these. But those are some of the major issues, Sharif, I see with particularly COP27 around sustainable finance. A lot of work to do, a lot of collaboration that needs to take place to effectively achieve the goals. But let's let's hope that we can begin to pull together a global collaboration out of COP27 of uniting the developing and the developed nations together to work collaboratively to achieve these goals. Sharif, thank you.
Sure. Now I request Professor Ching. Today we're going to discuss on the sustainable finance, and as it is focused on COP27, so we want some impactful discussions on sustainable finance and green technology.
Okay, this we had a session on COP27 last week. This session I can summarize COP27 on finance. Actually, there's a big problem. That is, the world is competing for solving, to find a method to solving the current economic crisis in many areas in the world. Okay. And this is, this problem of how to solve this financial economic crisis is similar to this problem of financing the, COP27, financing climate change. Okay, they want the money. Okay, so you invest into climate change. Okay, the important thing is what will be the return for the climate change investment. Okay, so this economic crisis today, for example, the most stark example is England. The prime minister decided not to go to COP27, and then he changed his mind, then he changed his mind again. Okay, what he needs to do is to find a solution to the economic crisis in his country. Okay, same thing with financing, the climate change. So the solution is first to solve an economic crisis, to borrow money from the future. In other words, you print the money and you have quantitative easing. You have the money to solve the current situation, okay? But you need to borrow money from future generations. However, you need to balance this with high rate of return investment. So the average rate of return for both will be positive. You see, this is what I've been proposing all the time. The whole world need to compete for the next, actually they're competing for the best thinkers, best entrepreneurs, also billionaires to come to their country. Okay, so they try to form the next new world. They have people come with new ideas, with technology, with money. Same problem with COP27. Okay, they want money, but they invest in project which they probably have low rate of return, and they need to have high rate of return. In other words, even in COP27, they need to immediately have high rate of return project for people to invest. Okay, so it will justify the investment. So asking for finance, we're facing with investors, with people with money, and they will calculate to see if they can do it. And the way to do it is to get the people, who with good ideas, which can save the environment and do things. You see, so, that is the basic idea. But, since we are coming to this at the second time, we can summarize this with much more simpler terms. Okay, so let me say something from a very fundamental point of view. Okay, reality is consistent of nature and man, both of which can change reality. Okay, the reality we face now is the climate change. The current money-oriented society is only interested in short-term monetary returns, and while a knowledge-oriented society interested in long-term as well as short-term and monetary as well as non-monetary returns. In the current situation, COP27, we are in a money-oriented society, so all they are asking for is for money. And this is very much a situation, they are looking for short-term monetary returns. Okay, so when you're looking at that, all you see is global warming. Okay, throughout the history, people look at global cooling as the main problem. It's not global warming. Okay, so if you look at the long-term problem, then it has been always the global cooling, not global warming. So we need to have some kind of solution. Okay, I suggest this solution, infinite spreadsheet. You need to look at long-term, short-term, monetary, non-monetary, and then you decide. You have people decide whether they want to invest in this project. So this COP27 reflects our current money-oriented society. It's not a knowledge-oriented society. Okay, so that is, from a long-term point of view, there's many nations, okay, which will benefit by global warming. Okay, it is bad for the current real estate near the coast where the sea will rising, but it's very good for high altitude people who will get more water in the air and more rain. Okay, so Russia will become a superpower, with global warming, because they got so much territory which can produce farm product if they can plant something in say Siberia. Canada will benefit greatly. United States, China will also benefit, actually. You see, the northern country will all benefit. So, these people not following their commitment has some reason. And this prime minister from England just changed his mind. He has his reason. So we need to look at this from a balanced view, okay, of what is really involved here, why people are talking about and not committing the money, not actually pay the money. Okay, so if we have a total analysis, overall view, we probably will come to some kind of solution. Unfortunately, today people, we're in a money-oriented society, so people just looking for short term and they're not going into long term. So both sides speak their own point of view, and everyone, thinks no solution, no honest solutions for no honest, balanced, neutral solution for everybody. Everybody seems to be for themselves. I think this talk is useful. COP talk is useful in that we somehow we have to, give some kind of solution to this problem, which is related to the current world crisis in economics. And I feel that I'm glad that Sam and David both coming out again to summarize their views. And you see, I hope that we by this actually, I'm not thinking this COP will do anything for us, but I think some crisis in England, some crisis in Taiwan will be more interested in having a rational solution to this problem. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If you don't
Dr.
have any-
Asim Musa, I have interesting things in my mind, especially I'd love to learn more about your country. What is their preparations about sustainable finance, especially your central bank, your other financial institution, how they are taking preparations for sustainable finance?
Thank you so much. It's a very intelligent question. I think that not only my country, but all like all Arab countries and African countries, especially have like big issue regarding economy or regarding what's happened. Because some evolution happened in Arab country and also because of COVID-19. So there is a lot of issue, and I think bank and private sector also help a lot in investment and do something good regarding for Egypt to become better and better. So let me say that for this climate change, developing country wait for the developed country to fulfill promise about help developing countries, especially because this climate change the developing country is not the main reason for this climate change. I think developed country like China or USA, the main reason for this climate change. So if they the developed country fulfill promises to help with the billion or $1 trillion that promised to help, it will be better. What I'm saying is that for universal adoption of the new technology of the 21st century, in all the world, because there is a gap always happen between Arab and African and all the world, and this happened in second revolution or third revolution. But for the fourth revolution, this technology will help a lot in humanity, because it will achieve the 17 SDG and help in poverty, diseases, violence, and world leadership in climate change. So I hope that we can know the technology, like know how, and also for finance to implement this technology with the help of private sector, with the help of the developed country. I think everything will be better. And the biggest issue, we have to, to implement peace, because without peace, cannot do anything. That's why, COP27, we send a message, from the city of Sharm el-Sheikh, the city of peace, to all the world. We need to stop the war between Russia and Ukraine. If there's something between, Palestine and Israel, if there's something conflict in every country, we have to stop all the conflict, all the war, because this, will destroy, and we are looking for build, we are looking for implement, no, not destroy. That was the first, step to be is peace. The second step, to all the world act like, one person, for activation or for implementation of the new technologies that will help a lot in climate change. So I think with this, effort for COP27 to move from, from talk to action, I think everything, will be better. And we hope that we can hand over, the world to the future generation in a better way, not in, in a bad economy, in COVID-19 and climate change. So that's why, we have only one planet, or one earth to live. We have to, and it's our own responsibility, to do something. And we have to start from yesterday, not from today. Thank you so much.
Professor David Smith, specifically, we know at present US government, Biden administrations, they're really supporting this climate finance, sustainable finance, and global warming issues. And present situations, that uh, just Dr. Mohammad Yunus, who won Nobel Prize for Global Peace in COP27, definitely he's Bangladeshi, and he said that if we want to utilize the sustainable finance and this COP27, we want to make it successful. Definitely, we want to stop this Russia and Ukraine war, because this world has uh, massive economic crisis right now. Immediately, we have to stop this war. What do you want to say? Is it helpful for sustainable finance and for COP27, or what is your views? Because USA has more negotiation ability for this war.
Well, you talked about the Russian-Ukraine war in part of the question, and it's a double-edged sword. The war has definitely made sustainability worse. We see food shortages happening because of it. We see increased pollution as part of the war efforts. We see uh, a tremendous amount of fallout in affecting nations with the cutoff of oil supplies and natural gas supplies, and the ability to not only ship crops that have been grown, but the thousand of hectares that have been taken out of production because of the impact of the war. Uh, so that has dramatically hurt sustainability. On the other hand, one of the positive impacts of the war, if there is such a thing as a positive impact of a war, is it has brought global attention to those problems. It has brought nations together to not only resist the Russian invasion of Ukraine, but it also has brought attention to how do we serve the unserved? How do we address the sustainability challenges? And how do we do that? You referenced President Biden in the United States. Um, Climate change has been an action item under the Biden administration. Uh, Often a lot of it's unilateral without support of industry and without a broad-based regulatory approval underneath it. Many of them have been by executive order. And while that's one way to bring attention to items, we're seeing that as cases make their way to the Supreme Court, many of the elements are being overturned as unconstitutional in the United States. Um, what is needed is leaders like Biden, like, as was mentioned before, the Prime Minister of UK. Uh, you need Z from China. You need to look at India. You need to look at the EU as a whole. You need to go to South America and look at Brazil in particular. And how can they be a part of this conversation? Um, as I've said before, climate change is a system of systems problem. And the only way to adequately address climate change and the issues of COP, whether it's from the Paris Accord through COP27, is to deal it with looking at on a global basis, a collaborative regulatory basis, a industry and academia coming together to jointly address the problems, or you're only going to have part solutions. You're not going to be able to address the systems view of it, because all those stakeholders need to collaborate to produce effective change. Um, like I said, the war between Russia and Ukraine really is unfortunate. My companies, I had development teams in Ukraine where half of the development team has been killed and their families displaced, and uh, I'm no longer able to use them as a development team. And that was a very strong capability that was in Ukraine before the start of the war. Um, you see the amount of grain. The Ukraine produced a large percentage of the grain globally, and you're seeing very little of that being allowed to ship. And you're seeing almost no grain being allowed to be replanted today. Uh, that's going to have long-term impacts. Um, there's many more, but the politics of sustainability is something that is there, but we almost need to take the politics out. And we need to come back and say, what do we need to do from a societal basis? What do we need to do from a scientific basis? What do we need to do from a process basis to handle this? The concept of system dynamics and the science of system dynamics is very much at play here, because what you have is a large scale system dynamics equation. And the sustainable finance is only one part of that system dynamics that's going on place there. And I could take the whole sustainable finance around COP and turn it into a fantastic chaos experiment, because chaos theory partially plays here, because you've got so many competing dynamics that as one dynamic happens, it changes 3 or 4 other elements. So you have a non-stable linear path as you look at sustainability and sustainable finance. It's almost the pure definition of a wicked problem, because a wicked problem is never stable. It's constantly changing, it's constantly evolving. And our solution sustainability are constantly evolving. And even as we look at how to put finances to play against it in the developing and in the developed world, those needs are constantly changing and morphing as well. And they go well beyond classic morphological analysis, uh, and really move into the domain of the full complex system dynamics that they truly are. And Dr. Sharif, is the academic programs and other things which you're working with, the complexity of this system dynamics and the fact that it is a wicked problem are things that really deserve considerable academic research as well. This is, if done well, these are case examples that will be taught in business schools towards the end of the century as what was done well and what was done poorly. and what was their impact on this global environment. So it's a perfect opportunity to become the pace setters of the future generations of what we will study in business and what we'll study in government schools. So, Sharif, I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Professor David Smith. Professor Ching, at present situation, definitely for solving these global warming issues, why all of the global leaders they meet together in the COP27. USA and China relationship also a very important, playing a very important role for sustainable finance, impact investment, all of the global trade and commerce. So, what is your opinions? Because in challenging situations, we do not want any war, we more peace, and we need economical and political sustainability. So, what do you think? Is it practically
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah, first let me comment. David gave describe the problem, okay, which I tend to agree. Okay, but where's the solution? Okay, other people they just going around everywhere, not even giving the problem. Okay, so now at least we have some problems to specify. Okay, in my opinion, that in the absence of rational decision making, competition is the main the greatest competition is military conflict, wars. Okay. So this war is probably has stopped military competition because human beings are exhausted with the nuclear capability, with biological warfare, chemical warfare. We have exhausted the use of war as an engine of progress. We can no longer use wars to stimulate progress. We need to get into a rational mode of progress. Okay, so this war teaches China, teaches you the whole world, Russia, especially Russia, and then China, then Europe, that they can no longer count on wars to solve problems. So this meeting with Biden and Xi Jinping, this is perfectly going in that direction. But this meeting would make China and the USA very strong, and they are not. They will look after their own interest. The global warming is not particular interest, but it's caused by these two big countries. Okay, they should be responsible partially for this. So that's the excuse. You can go after them for some finance, and the finance they give probably $100 billion is nothing to them. Okay, I would say, the real problem, the way to solve all this problem is to look at knowledge. Okay, we all, I Sam, David all talk about knowledge. Okay, the knowledge, let me tell you, okay, the knowledge, I work all this thing, all my life. You see, finally, we are looking at I get 10 people, the top thinkers in the world, and they now all become the leader in every field we face with, all the robotics, fuzzy logic, everything. They seem to dominate every field. Okay, so what we need to do is we accumulate more people, billionaires, entrepreneurs, to work together. So the world need to compete for these people. Okay, United States, why not get everybody to come to the US? So basically what happens, US is the master, China is the servant, and these two parties will become richer and richer. They will dominate everybody else. Okay. And we no longer have military conflict, we will have trade wars. Okay, so what we need is to be superior in technology. Okay, this war taught the Russian, they got backward technology, so they lost so badly. Originally we thought that a few months Russia will take over Ukraine, but when you look at technology, Russia is so backward, it's a third world country. Okay, so this war teach the world for the last time. We need to go into economic competition, not military competition. So from now on, we probably will have economic competition. You see, this is great for pole science. Okay, we are leader in knowledge, but not in technology. And our people all passed away. Okay, I'm still alive. Now 10 people all passed away. We need to look for the next generation. We will collect all the best people in the world. And our group can collect these people. You need somebody who really at the top of knowledge in order to get other people of knowledge to come in and join. Okay, I have this. I already start to getting some people. Every day I have so many highly technical young people. They come to talk to me. Okay, after they wrote a book, they come to talk to me because my idea is similar to theirs. Okay, but I spend my time just taking care of my body. I need a new generation of people to come in. Okay, like you, like Mahdi Hussein, like Patrick Freeman. Okay, Patrick Freeman is a perfect candidate. He's a descendant of Milton Freeman. Okay, his son is also, growing up 16, 17, 18 years old. Okay, these people can lead the world and collect all the best people. Okay, so the world, every country, every area should compete for the best people to come to the country. What we suggest is to form the next new world. Current new world is USA. It's all run by lawyers. Okay, and they argue back and forth. They play politics. But still, the best people, the top 5 companies in the world, the highest capital. Actually, there's one, for oil. That's an exception. But all the top companies, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, they are all U.S. companies. Do people see this? Okay, knowledge, you have to go beyond. All these companies are beyond science. Okay, they are not doing science. They're doing fuzzy logic. Okay. So people don't see this. Okay, we are above these companies. And we need young people to come join us. Okay, and we put all these people together, young people with their energy and the older generation with their knowledge. This combination will start the new world and get us going, you see. And I think this is the solution. Okay, the world is going in this direction from money-oriented society, which was designed by Milton Friedman, to a knowledge-oriented society, which people will argue, for knowledge. And I think one field my group can definitely dominate is the solution value. Okay, if we go talk to people who's going to solve the financial crisis, even in the U.S. U.S. is the country which caused financial crisis, which it cause problem for the world, and they cannot solve it, but they refuse to let other people cut in. So the current new world is hampering the forming of the next new world. So we cannot form this new world in the United States, okay, even though it got all these good people. But these good people, they're going to leave U.S. if they have a better place to go. Okay, so basically England is facing with the one of the first to see that their gross national product is going down for the next few years. How do they solve that? That is the problem. Okay, that is not the problem for England. That is a problem for many, many areas in the world. Okay, and they should all look at what we have, our solution. Okay, try to be. You cannot have many people try to get all the thinkers to talk to them. Usually, you can only have one group which says we are for knowledge, so we're going to have all the knowledge people come here. This is a long-term look, and the person who has already demonstrated the effectiveness of collecting the best thinkers, best technical people to an area to promote the area is K.T. Lee. Okay, he's the architect of Taiwan economic miracle. He's the cause of the China world factory. Okay, that's another example is the United States in the 1960s in order to compete with Russia after Sputnik. U.S. funded all the scientists with unlimited funding. So today we have internet, we have microprocessor, all derived from that time, 1960s. Okay. In other words, the politicians, they don't want to fund innovation. They don't want to fund knowledge. They just want to get their own jobs. Okay, so it didn't happen. So only in a few cases where, for some reason, the politician was willing to release money to people of knowledge. You see, this happens in the U.S. in the 1960s and also happened in Taiwan and China. That's a reason for their fast growth. And Brazil also followed Taiwan's example, funding money for small business, but they did not get all the best people there. So Taiwan today is the world top place for manufacture chips. Such a small place control the world chip, okay? Because they got so many technical people in Taiwan. You want to start some industry, you got the best technical backing. Okay, so we need to do the same thing. That is the solution. We are just providing a solution. Since nobody has solution, so we're probably the only solution working, and we are carry this out at the present. I'm very busy, and lots of people come to talk to me, and Patrick Freeman has he has seasteading. He's tried to start many operations to create the new governance, but still. We're looking into this, and what they have is they have the fame. Okay, the fame, they got the reputation of Milton Friedman, so many people follow Patrick Freeman, but they don't have the knowledge. Okay, so the combination with knowledge and the young people will get the work going again. Okay, but it's not all for short term. All this big country must be responsible for the pollution they cause. So they need to pay some money to Africa to help them, for the damage that the main country has caused. Then we got to look at the truth. Global warming is good for some countries, but not good for other countries. So we will need to be honest. Okay, all these scientists have become politicians. They keep talking about one thing, which politician is working on. That is not the way for knowledge. Okay, we need a new place. Okay, this is what Patrick Freeman tried to do. We need to new place to start this new knowledge advancement. And I'm doing this. I'm helping Patrick Freeman to get going on this. So, anybody has anything to contribute, I'm willing to listen. So this is a solution. Okay, anybody has a solution, I love to hear it. In a way, we are open. We deal with knowledge, so we do not shut people off. You see, so I'm glad David is providing the problem, describe a problem. Okay, this problem is system. Okay, system, sure, infinite expression is a system. You cannot solve the problem of value with just a solution. Okay, one solution giving one number like speed of light, that's not the way to solve problem. The way to solve problem is to have a system. Anytime things change, you recalculate and find out what is the new result. That's a system. Once you get life science, then you have system of systems. Okay, you have many systems which relate to each other. Then finally you have a system which says this guy is going to die or live. Okay, things are getting more and more complex, and the world is stuck in this scientific mode with one solution. Okay, so when we go out to talk about knowledge, I don't think we have competition. We're way ahead of them. Many level ahead of them. So we're trying to raise the cultural level of countries, of people, so that they can see a different view. They have a different method of reasoning. David has posed this problem of system thinking. System. We are system of systems. We also talk about robotics, where human labor will all be replaced by robots. We're talking about self-creation. Okay, all these young people, they say, oh, we have AI, which is better, more intelligent than human. That is nonsense. Okay. All we are doing is try to self-create ourselves. Okay, you say computer is smarter than human, that's silly. Human can build a computer. You say hammer is better than a fist in nail, but the human created the hammer. Okay. You want to build a human, okay, first, then you understand what nature has done, okay. Man has done something, nature has done something. So far, everything created by nature exists permanently. Things created by human only exist temporarily. So this doesn't make sense to they don't understand. They don't have enough knowledge, so they think machine has surpassed human. Machine cannot surpass human. Human is so much complex than machines. So they need to gradually catch up with us. But the next age is from age of science to age of social science. People need to start to make rational decisions so they can invest in high rate of return, long-term high rate of return. In other words, I just said invest in knowledge. Okay, all the other things are just they have proven to be not useful. So what we need is competition in wars. Once you have a war, then whoever has the better knowledge will win the war. Okay, gradually people see the importance of knowledge. That is a way to see it, but that way is no longer available because we have nuclear weapon, we have a biological weapon, we have exhausted the limit of tolerance of using war as a way of progress. So now we have to go into economic competition. And my advice to England is to start to fund schools so that they will collect all the best thinkers around the world to help them to build up the country, just like in Taiwan in the 1970s. Okay, and if they can do that successfully, then they will save their country. Otherwise, England is thinking just like Taiwan was thinking in 1970s. So this advice to one person doesn't mean that it only applicable to one country. It's applicable to everywhere. Egypt. Dr. Sasanta, if he's interested in making your country the next new world, you need to go collect the thinkers. Okay. Our group, Pole Science, is the leader in knowledge, so we stand in a position to collect all the new innovative people. Okay, such as Sharif is one of the young generation which want to work in knowledge, so he also deal with us. But I got pretty much all the new young thinkers to talk to me. It's very difficult to find young thinkers. Okay, it's easy to find old thinkers who are established. Like as I said, David, if they have any new idea, we are open to all these suggestions. Also the leader. Right now we identify the leader. Probably will be Patrick Freeman, because he's a descendant of Milton Freeman. So we continue this path of Milton Freeman's thinking. You see, Milton Freeman thinks man should not make laws, okay? And only we should obey laws. He's on the side of nature, so we should obey laws of reality. We should only obey the invisible hand. So Milton Freeman is for free market, regulated by the invisible hand. Now pole science make the invisible hand visible, and we can have Patrick Freeman and his children who are growing up to continue this legacy of Milton Freeman and move the world from the current age of science into the coming age of social science, and move from Milton Freeman's money-oriented society into the future money or knowledge-oriented society. So the world will start to talk about knowledge instead of money or military conflict. You see, so I think this is one potential solution we are presenting in the face of COP27, which is face the same problem. Okay, same problem, and they collect all the people around the world. Okay, so okay.
Thank you, Dr. Musa. What's your concluding remarks for today's session?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that we have, all the world, to be against, war like Russia and Ukraine, Palestine, Israel, and also all conflict in all the country to start, to build, to the destruct, because war means destruction. But we know we need to build, we need to implement, the new technology. Also, we have to all against, injustice, against racism, and and like gender, and like religion, or like color. And after that, we have to to start universal adoption of this new technology of the 21st century, that will help a lot in achieving the 17 SDG into 2030 169 goals, and also in climate change and poverty, diseases, violence, and poor leadership. The new technology, 5G, IoT, artificial intelligence, digital twin, we have to implement in to reduce the gap between Arab, African country, and all the world. Also, I have to mention that the biggest challenge that our planet is currently facing might benefit from the new technologies of the 21st century, new technology. We use it for our daily life and business. High time to start thinking out of the box to save the earth. Using this technology revolution that helped humanity a lot. For example, we will see to face huge environment challenge. So the use of artificial intelligence, IoT, cloud of everything technology for environment sustainability is one of the most useful tools in our fight for the environment balance. Business or organization can implement this new technology. Also, we can, we need, the developed country fulfill the promise, to help, finance the developing countries that, affect with this climate change. Also, like for example, the petrol, gas, coal company have to, to pay something from the profit to the developing country. A lot of things can, we make for, for finance to work against this climate change. And especially that COP27 it's held, in Sharm el-Sheikh, the city of peace. That's why we have a message to all the world. We need peace because we need star. We need peace star, not we need war star. We need someone, for leaders for a peace, not leaders for a war, because we cannot do anything with this war. We have to stop war and to live in a peace to start implementing the new technology of the 21st century that helped, a lot in climate change and achieving the 17 SDG and 169 goal of United Nations in 2030 to help in poverty, diseases, violence, poor leadership, also help all people, handicapped people. So we need to implement this new technology. So we are looking for a peace. Second, we need to reduce the gap between African and all the world, and universal adoption of this new technology in all the world. The third, that we need, finance and finance, because of every, country in all the world, have problems in finance due to war, due to COVID-19, due to, the high prices, of energy, a lot of things, but we can manage it if we have peace, if we have, strategy to universal adoption of this new technology. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much
Dr.
for
Sharif.
the
Thank you for your invitation.
conclusion remarks here. Dr. Sharif always puts together great programs like this, and this is no exception. As we look at what we want to do, the timing is critical, as I said before here. The other thing is, if I look at COP27 explicitly, and some of the outputs from COP27, one of them is something called a loss and damage fund. And this loss and damage fund is particularly targeted to developing nations where uh, they've had losses and damages to the nation state from climate change and the sustainability issues. Um, there is not consensus yet of how this fund is going to be administered, who's going to verify. But this is one of the outputs that is being used to say, in addition to how can we put funds to use to help solve the sustainability issues, but how can we also now put some funds into play to cover the losses and damages that result of it? And for particularly countries like Africa, countries like some of the poorer nations you see, like Haiti and others, uh, this is going to be a game changer in how they can react to sustainability issues and climate change across a wide range of areas, from crops to the impacts of flooding and weather changes to the impacts of raising sea levels and changes in the pattern of employment and things because of climate change. Um, so this is some of the good that's coming out of it. Um, we will continue to see how it evolves. But once again, this is a global issue that needs to be considered on a global basis and not a regional basis. And it's very important to keep the global impact of this in mind and understand that regions are a base unit, but we will never solve this issue if we do not act globally. So, Sharif, thank you for allowing me my closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Ching, Professor Musa, and Professor David Smith for your continuous support for World Talent Economy
Thanks
Forum.
so much.
And we are working for emerging economy, especially we need more support from developed world. The more we get support from developed world, we can solve many complex problems for developing nations. And especially, we are operating right now in South Asia. We are engaged with around 22,000 institutions in Asia Pacific. A few million people we are engaged, and especially we are trying to solve many local ecosystem. I want to give thanks, especially we get support from many social entrepreneurs of developing world, those who help us to through their campus, through their technological support, through their students. I want to give special thanks to those social entrepreneur, and beside that, we hope we get more support, collaborations, partnership, technological collaborations from the developed world. And we don't only need the commitment, especially the COP27, we need more action. We need practical actions and practical initiative which can solve many problems. We do not want any wire. We do not want so much of investment in uh, these arms industries. Beside that, we can the developed world can invest in different kind of solutions in water, airs, housing, healthcare, and many more things. And this way, we can develop a sustainable ecosystem. So hopefully, through this dialogue, we can come together, we can discuss together, and we can solve many problems together. Thank you, Professor Ching, Professor Dr. Musa, and Professor David Smith. Thank you. Bye bye, and take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye, Dr. David. Bye, Dr. Sharif. See you. Bye.